Souls games are not what you think, and people who enjoy Souls games are not just masochists at heart. There is a deeper psychology to, I think, the appreciation and love for this genre of gaming and for the Souls franchise in general. What From Software has done was open the door so that other creators can feed off of that drive that the Souls franchise has made, but it's not as surface level as it may seem. People who enjoy these games, there is a reason why it has become a growing franchise and why people love them so much, and it's not just for the blistering challenge. I genuinely feel like it's deeper than that. So at surface level, your Souls formula is an action RPG set in brutal conditions with a world against you as you try to persevere through to a goal that you don't know if it's right or wrong or what exactly it even is in some cases. But all you know is you need to go forward. And at surface level, it seems very basic. It just seems animalistic. Go through, kill, get stronger, move forward. But when you get to thinking about it and really start to understand what mindset these games want you to be in when you're playing them, I feel like that's the key that makes people either really, really get attached and love these games or fall off and just not get it. For me personally, going through a Souls game or doing any of my challenge runs isn't necessarily for some sort of elitist grandeur. My reasoning for it is more internalized. So the first time I played through one of these games, it didn't click. I wasn't in a place where I could understand it. It didn't seem like a fair time. I honestly stopped playing Dark Souls 1 at the Bridge Drake. Just didn't feel like going past that. Didn't feel like trying to figure out what it was at. It wasn't until I got a ways into college that I realized that this might be something I want to revisit. And I did go and revisit it. And I feel like being in a college mindset, being in a more matured mindset, gave me a better appreciation for the franchise. These games are not meant to rub your face in the dirt. Yes, they will, and that is a central mechanic, but it is also the method in which you learn. These games are not about self-hate. They are not about self-masochism. They are a learning experience. In a world that is out to get you, you need to be able to learn from your mistakes, build upon those mistakes, and be able to push past whatever roadblock is in your way. And it's messages like this and the feeling that I got from this kind of clicking in my brain that really gave me an appreciation. It is basically the artistic embodiment of pushing through hard times, pushing through things that you may think are impossible, and coming out a better person on the other side. Whether it's in the video game logic of being stronger physically and being able to do better against enemies in the game, or just being better at the game in general, learning how the game wants you to think, how it wants you to play, and playing to those strengths. It all parallels back to a more IRL mindset of, hey, just because this happened, just because when I did this, this was the outcome and I hated it, doesn't mean that that's going to be the outcome every time. There is something to be learned from every failure. And once you are willing to actually analyze that failure and see where you came from, that is where growth truly comes from. Nobody grew just from succeeding at everything. There are people that are naturally gifted in one way or another, and learning might come easier to them. But I challenge you to go out and find anybody that has not been through some sort of learning experience based around failure. It is human nature. And these games want to tap in to what is human. They want to tap into that bleak realization that, hey, I failed. But then turn the lights on and realize that failure is always okay. Failure is how we grow as a person. Failure is how we grow in the game as a character. It is how we grow as a player. And being willing to accept that failure and accept that sometimes things are unfair. Dark Souls 1 in particular has several instances in it where, unless you knew prior to going in, it might be unfair. What happened to you might be unfair. There might be a boulder trap or an arrow trap that you just weren't paying attention to. You didn't realize you needed to pay attention to. And you'll fail at that point. But it's in those instances that I think it is the most clear. Those concrete, scripted fuck yous that the game likes to hand you from time to time. It's like, okay, well, this won't happen again. I will make sure that this won't happen again. And then you take that style knowledge and ring it into every other aspect of the game, whether it's learning a new enemy moveset, whether it is learning a new route through an area or finding a backtrack. It all loops into a constant learning process that we can grow upon and eventually reach our goal. And at the end of the day, the goal might not be the outcome that you wanted, but take solace in the fact that you still persevered through and made it to the end line. And there's always other endings out there. There is always a different way to go about things. If you're not satisfied with the result, do it again and again until you get the result that you want. There is no reason to give up on something if you truly are learning and growing from it. Now, this game franchise isn't for everybody, and just because the franchise isn't for you doesn't mean that what I am saying isn't applicable to you. Don't take this as me saying that if you don't love Souls games, that you're never going to grow as a person, because that is not the case. I'm just going off of what I have experienced with this franchise and why I love it so much. It has opened a different way of thinking for me that I feel like I wouldn't have otherwise. And I know putting that much weight and stock into a game, let alone a franchise or a genre, might seem a little silly to some, but it has become an integral part of how I handle day-to-day life, how I handle situations in my life. I take the Souls approach and realize that me not being perfect is the way things are intended to be. This is a Souls-like IRL. And while death isn't going to be the learning factor IRL, obviously, failure is. And in both those instances, failure is how people grow. So, like I said, the games might not be for everybody. The general gameplay flow or how they perform just might not be your cup of tea, and that's okay. But I just kind of wanted to sit down and explain why my heart goes out to this franchise. It's really done wonders for me, and it's honestly helped me out through a lot of times. So, thank you all for listening. Much love, Tentacrew, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.